What's up, y'all? It's Drewski, and I've teamed up with Mountain Dew to produce a hilarious new basketball podcast called The Dew Zone with Drewski. Learn the backstories of your favorite ballers and celebrities like Jamal Murray.
Did you have like a favorite team? Was it the Raptors at the time or no? Was the Raptors even started around that time?
Come on, bro.
I ain't that old, fam. You talking like I'm 50.
Taylor Rooks, Asia Wilson, and many more. You won't want to miss this. Listen to The Dew Zone with Drewski on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts.
The Timeline is a Blue Wire podcast.
Team with the Phoenix Suns is there goes LeBron walking off the floor with 5:40 to go.
Welcome to the Timeline of Phoenix Suns podcast. Wow, that was incredible. My name is Mike. I'm here with Sam. Sam, 3-2.
3-2, baby. Mike. Michael Vigil. Michael V. Hill, you beautiful human. I feel like I just witnessed something that has the potential to be an all-time moment in Suns history. Job ain't done, but that's how I feel. How do you feel?
I feel great, but can I just take a quick moment to say that Chris Haynes, we're recording.
I knew you would start on this.
We're recording immediately after the game. Chris Haynes just asked Devin Booker. He just asked Devin Booker if a pickup game in the summer 2 years ago against Joakim Noah prepared him to play against the defending champions in the playoffs in his first playoffs ever. One of the dumbest questions I have ever heard asked, and a perfect example of how the Phoenix Suns have like three narratives that people can bring up in the back of their mind, and that apparently is one of them. They don't even know what to ask them about after they shock the world by beating the LeBron Lakers by 30 points in Game 5 of the playoffs. It was incredible. So I feel great. I just had to get that off my chest to start before I didn't want to forget to mention that.
Well, let's just point out that Book, I thought, had a really classy response as a guy who people have talked about his interactions with the media before. And in this case, you know, he understood the moment. He quickly defended himself. He was like, hey, they're different situations, but he moved on. There was no sass in his tone. I thought it was great. Yeah, stupid, really stupid question.
What they essentially asked him is, did you learn how to pass out of a double team when you were playing with not your teammates?
Our buddy on Twitter, Serge, I just want to shout out this tweet that I'm reading right now. It says, "Hey Book, great game. Quote, you've come a long way in your career. What's this I hear about a Poland Spring?" Because it's like just latching on to one of the like three stories. It's like, "Hey Book, what's this I hear about the time you beat up a dude in an elevator with Tyler Ulis?" Like the things that you choose to reference after the biggest game of his career.
Devin Booker, you just beat the defending champions by 30 points in the playoffs. Do you remember that time that Robert Sarver put a goat in Ryan McDonough's office?
No, that would be if Rachel Nichols was doing the interview. Then we would have hit it for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, fascinating game. By the way, I guess Dennis Schroeder was curious about that Poland Spring in the first game, right? Or in game 2 when he reached for it.
Oh yeah.
The Suns won by 30, and it was a complete control of the game in a way that you hope to happen. And a lot of the things that we talked about in the last episode really worked well in this game. And I think the main thing that I wanted to talk about is just how the defenders really fall into place against this team without Anthony Davis. One more time, I talked about it on the last episode, but just to reiterate it, when you can put Mikal Bridges on Dennis Schroeder on the point of attack, essentially, you can hide basically Chris Paul and Devin Booker, who carry the load offensively on other guys. And then you have Jay Crowder on LeBron and DeAndre Ayton just controlling the paint defensively. It becomes very, very, very difficult to score, regardless of if it's Marc Gasol or Andre Drummond. The defense really just falls into place for the Suns, and they're not even a good offensive team already. So it just really worked really well in this game.
Not to mention when you can just get back to doing the things that have made you such a comfortable team all season long. Do you remember at the beginning of the series when I said, straight up, I don't want to run a drop coverage against LeBron because I don't want to concede the lane to him? But, this was a game, and they've been doing it all series, but especially this game. They were switching some off-screen actions, but every time it was LeBron coming around that pick and roll, they just played DeAndre Ayton in a drop. And it's been totally serviceable to the Suns all series long, and it really just continues to be crazy. LeBron hit a lot of his patented threes in transition, just kind of pulling up and with a smooth motion. He still can't get to the rim, and if he doesn't have AD and his teammates aren't shooting like 50% from deep to kind of bail him out, and he just has to be jump shooter LeBron the entire game, they're not going to win. It becomes, honestly, at that point, less of a conversation about execution, because I think Vogel can do all the chess match type schematic things he wants to do, but the Lakers just don't have the talent. I mean, That's really what it came down to tonight. It was LeBron did his best. Schroeder was completely locked down. The only other guy who could kind of create even an ounce of his own offense was completely locked down by Mikal Bridges, who played terrific point-of-attack defense. And the rest of the guys, they just can't do it. They just can't live up to the roles that they need to play in the playoffs. Doesn't mean they won't be capable potentially of bouncing back in Game 6 or 7, especially the home court advantage, the potential for AD to come back for the Lakers. So I'm not saying it's over by any means, but the talent gap between these two teams was obvious tonight. It was really obvious. The Lakers needed LeBron James to play like superstar LeBron James, the dynamic 3-level scorer who can just kind of get to the rim at will, and he just couldn't be that. He couldn't.
No. That's the story of the game, and that's kind of what we've been talking about. What's the word? The word of our podcast for the last 5-6 episodes is vulnerable. They look vulnerable. LeBron was not quite LeBron, and I thought what was especially impressive. Now, we have to mention Chris Paul re-injured his shoulder a little bit there, was back out, it was very, very scary at first, was not as scary once he was back out there doing his coaching to Cameron Payne. To be honest, I think it was him trying to bring Cameron Payne up, because Cameron Payne looked like he was down on himself somehow after his incredible game. But it looks a little better. But what I thought was especially impressive is, obviously, Chris Paul is still good and he does his thing. He was a plus 34 in this game. But 9 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. It wasn't and 3 for 9 shooting. Although he did hit a 3, it wasn't this otherworldly performance by Chris Paul that allowed the Suns to win by 30. This was really the first game where the shooting kind of worked. The role players did their thing, and then Devin Booker was incredible, and that's what did it. I'm happy that it wasn't all because of Chris Paul, because you don't know how much that's going to remain.
Right. I mean, and now you've got this kind of versatile narrative about the Suns. I mean, there's a lot of different guys you can point at in this game, but I think for Chris, the biggest thing is just that he can make those passes that he couldn't make 2 games ago. It's not even necessarily about him being able to pull up, although he does look more comfortable in that kind of 16, 18-foot area. Yeah. But also, he snakes around the pick and roll. He can throw an on-target pass to the corner, either to Jay Crowder or Mikal Bridges, and then those guys either shoot or attack a closeout. That's not something that the Suns were even capable of doing in games 2 and 3. They weren't able to get those guys set up in any of their spots. We talked a lot in those games about how Jay and Mikal were coming up to the top of the key to try and take different shots that they're a little bit less comfortable with. Well, today they were getting the shots in the corners that they like the most. And a lot of that is just about Chris Paul's comfort level, and so that aspect of it was great to see. And
there's something that Anthony Davis does defensively that, look, he's their best defensive player by a lot, and one of the best defensive players in the NBA over the last few seasons. So Anthony Davis, obviously incredible, a massive hole missing for them in this game. But he essentially, when you're driving baseline or you're driving from a wing, he essentially shuts down the pass entirely on one half of the court where you can't pass it out to shooters, because he just is so good at blocking those passes and getting hands in passing lanes. He reads drives really well, and he's able to sort of stand right in the way. When he's out of the game, you can really get to the rim relatively easily, and when the help defense comes with players who are not Anthony Davis, the ball can swing to the corners a lot easier, because he takes up so much space in those passing lanes.
Exactly.
And there's nobody on the Lakers that can recreate. There's very few people that can recreate that in the NBA, period. So obviously with Anthony Davis missing, they were able to swing the ball a lot better.
I mean, even the Suns have struggled with that at times. The Suns have been very good at being a small team this year, but there has been the aspect of they don't necessarily have a lot of rim protection, and especially if you play against offenses that drag DeAndre Ayton away from the rim, then especially those teams feel more comfortable attacking the Suns because it's like Jay Crowder's not going to be that weak side protector. So that's been the advantage all season long for the Lakers of having Anthony Davis in the position he plays. But tonight, I mean, Markieff Morris played off the floor within 10 minutes. He started the game. He played 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, that didn't go very well for the Lakers. And even the Marc Gasol experiment, which they started the second half with, and they went to pretty early in that first half, they were targeting him. They were lining up pick and rolls to go right at Marc Gasol, whether that was Devin Booker, Cameron Payne, or Chris Paul. Chris Paul didn't share the floor a lot with Marc Gasol, but when he did, he was still going at him. He just couldn't keep up. Either you concede the mid-range shot if he's dropped back far enough, or they're just going to blow by him to the rim. So they don't really have that guy that can defend really well in space now. Obviously, I'm giant hole missing. There's an obvious thing here, but it really shows that the Suns game planned really well for this specific game to attack them in the right way. I mean, incredible.
I don't even know. I'm going down the line here. Like, I don't even know where to start with.
I think we got to start with Booker.
Yeah, let's start with Booker.
It's got to be Booker.
Let's
30 points,
Booker.
7 rebounds, 5 assists, set the tone for the team. An incredible performance. What did you think? He hit the tough shots that he had to. He hit multiple pull-up threes to get him going in the first quarter, which right there I was like, oh, this is it. like anytime you see that, you should know that I'm at home wherever I am. Like, I'm just fist pumping whenever that happens. I'm like, yep, this is it. This is exactly what we need from that dude. Just hitting the difficult shots that he needed to hit. It's actually pretty amazing here. I'm looking now, 23 field goal attempts, only 2 free throws. I kind of didn't notice. What's kind of remarkable is when the Suns, who have been a jump shooting team all season long, but then in this series have kind of been like floundering a little bit in that regard. They're shooting maybe like league average, a little bit below league average from 3. So the free throw disparity becomes a lot more recognizable. But when this team is actually on and the role players are hitting the corner threes, the wing threes that you're used to seeing them make, you don't necessarily mind seeing 2 free throw attempts for Devin Booker on only 23 shots. It's not really something that bugs me. And actually the team as a whole still got 21 free throw attempts in this game, thanks to both teams.
Yeah, guys like Cam Johnson here had 7 in this one. Booker was amazing. He was everything they needed him to be.
The word I want to use is decisive. I think that he knew exactly what he was planning on doing on every moment, depending on how they were going to defend the action that they were running. And that means that he probably did a ton of film watching. He was very prepared for what they were going to do. And I thought he got to his spots really easily. He made the right decision. Only 1 turnover in this game, too. 5 assists to 1 turnover. By the way, as far as assists to turnovers, they had 29 assists and only 4 turnovers for the game. I mean, that's an offense running as smoothly as it gets. I wouldn't be surprised if that was close to the most assists the Suns have ever had in a playoff game.
Well, and we've talked about this before. The Suns have the best assist-turnover ratio as a team. They did in the regular season of any NBA team in the past 20 years. Why does that matter? Obviously, it helps you with an efficient offense, but obviously, an efficient offense helps your defense as well. One of the main reasons, one of the underrated reasons why the Suns have been such a good defensive team this year is because they don't allow teams to get out in transition because they never turn the ball over. Between Chris Paul and Cam Payne, Devin Booker's kind of the only guard who's even struggled a little bit with his ball handling, and when he has, it's usually been related to those traps and unique pick and roll coverages that kind of only he sees. When he's able to clean up those issues like they did tonight and the entire team is rolling, the Lakers' offense, their half-court offense is so bad, and sincerely, it's so bad, that the only way the Lakers can beat the Suns in a game at this point, not just tonight, but any game, is they need to completely lock us down on defense, hold us to like below 100 points. But then also they need to create the turnovers to generate their own transition offense, because their half-court offense alone is not going to cut it.
Yeah.
And the Suns didn't. The Suns just completely did not allow that tonight.
No, not at all. And not at all. And, you know, it's actually kind of funny. The answer that Devin Booker gave to Chris Haynes, he talked about being double teamed. He talked about getting off the ball early. And I'm glad he mentioned that, because that's a perfect thing to talk about. It's not like Devin Booker had 30 points in this game and they were no longer trapping him or double teaming him. No, they definitely were. Like they were bringing a second guy at Devin Booker anytime he was isolating from the top of the key. And if he was in the paint, they were collapsing the defense on him a lot. And what he was doing, when I say decisive, either he was understanding the direction that it was coming from and turning back the other way to try and get an open shot, or he knew exactly who to pass to properly swing the ball to the open shooter. And right, like I talked about Anthony Davis being gone, that means those passing lanes are a lot more wide open for him, and that's what he did. He got off the ball as early as possible as soon as that second guy came, and the Suns were capitalizing that over and over and over again. And the 29 assists is indicative of the fact that it was everyone moving the ball, because that ball, sometimes when Devin Booker got off of it, sometimes it took 3 or 4 passes to find another open guy, but all of it stemmed from the way that they were defending him at the point of attack. And it'll be interesting to see if the Lakers continue to do that, or if they try to see if Devin Booker could beat them on his own in the next game.
Right. Well, I think it was a smart move for the Lakers to take that approach, because just truthfully speaking, like, the wings have been, we called them out after last game. The wings have not been that impressive for the Suns in this series. Tonight, do you want to transition to kind of what the wings did, or are we still talking about Booker?
No, that sounds good.
I mean, like, they did exactly what they, it's, again, I talked about a symbiotic relationship last game between kind of Ayton and what the wings do, but you could very easily talk just as much about the relationship between Booker and the wings, because Booker was making those decisive passes. The wings, then, he needs to put his faith in them to make the right reads. And tonight, I thought every single one of them, Jay Crowder, Mikal Bridges, and definitely Cam Johnson. Maybe Torrey Craig's in a little bit of a separate category tonight because he played a bunch of minutes at the 5, so I think we should talk about that because that was really interesting. But especially Crowder, Bridges, and Cam Johnson. They were either shooting in the first millisecond, or they knew that they were attacking that closeout. And so, first of all, they generated a bunch of assists by being decisive in attacking that closeout. I mean, it's corny to say this, but it was just 0.5 offense. Like, Jay only shot 3 for 9 from deep, not super amazing. Mikal shot 3 for 7. But what I thought was impressive is just the fact that they shot without any hesitation whatsoever. And so I didn't mind the shots that they were taking at all, because there was just, again, there was no hesitation. It was high volume. Like, a guy like Jay Crowder, we know he's streaky. He's built to take 8, 9, 10 3-point attempts in a playoff game. Just fire them up, and if you get hot at the right times, then you'll be able to kind of carry the offense. And, like last game when he had 17 points, those guys just need to shoot, pass, or dribble immediately. But what they can't allow to happen is to sort of bog down the offense the way that they were allowing that in the previous couple of games, particularly like games 2 and 3. Tonight they were just flawless.
Yep.
The economy is made up of real people doing real stuff, and it affects everything. Which you obviously know since you're a real person doing real stuff. Marketplace is here to help you get smart about everything beyond the what of the day's business and economic news. We dig into the how and the why with the real people driving our economy. From big tech and interest rates to small businesses and what's happening at the Fed. Marketplace breaks it all down so you don't have to. Listen to Marketplace wherever you get your podcasts.
Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, and Thomas Hearns. Legends, whose four-way rivalry defined one of the greatest eras in boxing history. Relive their decade of dominance in the new Showtime sports documentary, The Kings, a 4-part series premiering Sunday, June 6th, only on Showtime.
Frank Kaminsky minutes.
Yeah, I guess if that's like...
Let's talk about it.
So is the, like... I don't even know what you could nitpick about this game except for that. I
wouldn't even... It didn't even bother me. I'll be 100% honest. Like, in a game where the Suns won by 30 points, he played 10 minutes and they were +1 in those minutes, which means, by the way, technically the Suns won the Frank Kaminsky minutes. So if you just start there, you can almost be convinced the Suns won the game anyway. But you wouldn't expect a 30-point victory there. The reason I bring it up, it's 10 minutes, and some of those came at the end of the game when it was basically over before they finally really pulled the plug and put Jalen Smith in. But they did not keep on with those Kaminsky minutes. It was actually pretty similar to what they did in Game 4 in that Kaminsky came in for DeAndre Ayton early, and then they ended up going to a small ball 5 at some point with both Jay Crowder and Torrey Craig later. And look, if they're not getting killed in those Kaminsky minutes and they still find ways to do that small ball minutes, I'm not gonna fret over that because I understand that the small ball minutes are hard to maintain over a long period of time, and that's how players kind of get beaten up. And I think I've learned that lesson from really loving the Dario Saric minutes in the regular season and what he is now.
And for being a
What do you
PJ Tucker fan all those years too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think yeah, you were trying to convince me and I'm not, coming after you or anything, but you were trying to say how much this guy still has left in the tank for Milwaukee, and I know Milwaukee's rolling right now, but I wouldn't necessarily say he is what he was in Houston. So
no.
Those minutes
older.
definitely wore him down. Yeah, I think you need to start this is a little bit silly. I don't want to get too carried away with discussions about the next round. But it is important because, still got to get the job done here, but it is important to consider what the Suns' weaknesses are. And how those things might handicap them against other potential opponents. Could you get away with playing Frank Kaminsky against either Denver or Portland? Probably not. Not at all. Like both of those teams present unique challenges, but I think kind of in either situation it would be a disaster, right? So, look, playing Torrey for a stretch was a step in the right direction. This is still very clearly the Suns' number one. What the hell are we going to do about this? Because nothing seems to be working. I thought Dario played fine in 7 minutes, but it was garbage time. So he obviously
can't really count that.
Yeah, I can't take any coherent conclusions from that. Nor can I say that he dominated fair competition. It was garbage time. So we'll see, man. I mean, Frank had 4 assists.
It's hard to argue with the game plan in a game where they won by 30 points.
I know it's
plus minus only means so much. It really doesn't matter. It's 10 minutes. They could have just hit some lucky threes in that time, and that's why he was +1. So none of that really matters. There was nothing to me that stood out in this game that I thought Frank Kaminsky looked completely out of his out of sorts. This Lakers team is different now than they were before. So I'm not worried about it. If they go with the same game plan in the next game, it makes sense. As long as they're able to sort of pull the hook early and grab either Kaminsky or Saric, whoever plays, and go small and see how long they can do that. The Lakers did, at one point, put Drummond back in. They started small against the Suns when the Suns went small. I'm not sure who put who in first. It could have been the Lakers that went small and then the Suns matched. But eventually, the Suns were winning those minutes. Eventually, they put Drummond back in, and it still didn't really go well. The Suns' small lineup worked relatively well in that. Didn't play an extended amount of time there, but there was nothing really scary about Drummond against that lineup. I guess in a lot of ways, you're forcing the ball to Drummond, and that's a good situation for the Suns.
Yeah, he got hit with a couple of offensive foul calls. I actually thought the whistle was, I would say this, right? But the whistle was great tonight for the Suns in that there were a lot of offensive fouls on the Lakers, including a couple on Drummond, where he's just, how do I put it politely? Just a low IQ player with some of those when he has to create his own offense. Anytime,
big old dummy.
Yeah, dummy. Look, I don't think he's a stupid person, but as a basketball player, any possession where you can give him the ball and force him to think, it's like what we say with Ayton.
He's slow.
It's like what we say with Ayton, except 100 times worse.
Because he's slow. Yeah, he has no reaction time.
Forcing him to think is a win for the Suns defense. And so, we've arrived at a point now where the Lakers can try their hardest. I think their perimeter defense is still pretty good. I think they've got some weapons. And Alex Caruso's trying his best on Devin Booker. KCP, he came back from injury valiantly for most of this game. I think he left at the tail end of it. But not a single big in their depth chart scares me one bit.
No.
Not Harrell, not Gasol, not Drummond, not Keefe. And they've tried everyone now, and I don't know what they're going to do if AD misses another game because I don't know what the adjustment is. Again, how much can you do with that talent gap is what I started off the episode by saying. And I don't know what they will do.
Every single person that wanted the Lakers to win this game knew that all of it was hinging on how good LeBron James looked. That's really your best adjustment if you're the Lakers is LeBron ages back 5 years. Because the way that he's currently playing, it's difficult to even envision a way that the Suns, unless everyone just hits shots, this is the NBA, that can happen.
Totally can happen, and there can be a freak outcome like that. It helped that Mikal played terrific defense on Schroeder, I thought, but at the end of the day, Schroeder still also just missed some shots that in another game he could easily hit. You know, he went 0 for 8. If he went 4 for 8, it would be a different story. But yeah, with LeBron, it's just like, it would just be the most quintessential LeBron series, I think we can say, for him to come back and have a monster performance in Game 6 and then close it out in Phoenix in Game 7. Like, knowing what we know in the past about LeBron, he has not looked like he can be that guy up to this point. I really thought this was the game where it would be like, oh, LeBron, you've got your back against the wall. Okay, it's time to score 35 now and get to the rim a little bit. He still didn't do it, which makes me question, you know, I really think he probably just can't. However, the most quintessential ending to this series wouldn't have been LeBron winning tonight. It would be them blowing Game 5 and then coming back and winning in 7, like theoretically.
That's what ESPN wants. I guess you're right. But let me just give a little credit to the Suns there too, because look, I said it in the last game. I didn't really necessarily want the Suns to game plan for LeBron like he was LeBron from 2017. And to an extent they didn't, but also they did a really good job, especially in transition, of packing the paint as much as possible to make sure that he couldn't get into the paint early. They still brought help, as one would do, as soon as he starts getting into the paint, but they didn't overreact and cause shooters to be wide open. I think they did a really good job of getting back to shooters. This is something that Devin Booker has struggled with. And by the way, we didn't even talk about it in the last game. Devin Booker has been very good defensively in this series. He's playing his ass off to get around screens. He got beat by Schroeder, I think, in Game 2, I guess it was. And I think he came back in Games 3, 4, and 5, and he's played excellent defense in this series. By his standards, I think. Obviously, he's no Mikal, and he can't be. But I thought he was really good. And they got back to shooters. They found ways to do it both.
He's not disruptive in the way that Mikal is with his length. And honestly, you know, I've seen him fall asleep a few times on off-ball cutters. I actually thought before the Lakers' offense just totally fell apart in the second quarter, I thought they were doing a really good job of moving off ball on offense when they were kind of showing a varied offense. Yeah, I mean, and they just became predictable because honestly, a few times LeBron would beat his guy off the dribble. There was one possession where the Suns switched to screen. It was Chris Paul on LeBron. LeBron gets the first step by him. He's like got him right there. He's maybe 10 feet out, and he still passed out to the corner. This was like mid-second quarter. But he passes out to the corner.
Yeah.
But like that's when I was thinking, I was like, oh my God, he really just does not have it. I mean, he's going to be passive like this the whole game. And like, it's okay to feed your teammates and feel it out and try to get other guys going first and then get yours later. But at a certain point, you got to take that shot, dude. You're arguably the greatest of all time, according to people. So
I mean, he turns 37 in like a month. Just for the record, like, I'm not saying that he can't be incredible the next 2 games, but we do have to remember that. And I think the Suns they played him like he was turning 37 in a month. There was a moment in the second quarter where Torrey Craig was in guarding LeBron James, and LeBron caught it on a turnover at half court, and Torrey Craig was backpedaling at the 3-point line. Now, I have seen this movie before, and I know what happens. It's LeBron is faster than you, especially when you're moving backwards. He gets to the rim, he dunks, it's an and one, he scores 3 points, and then they go back the other way.
He's got a better vertical than you, too.
Yeah,
at least in the past.
He runs faster, jumps higher, and is stronger. Yeah. In this game, he took one step, conceded the lane to Torrey Craig, turned around and posted him up from like 20 feet away. And I just thought, I rewound it and I watched that play a few times, and it was weird for me. You know, it almost made me reflect on myself getting older.
Right. Well, and that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying on Twitter after the game. It's like there's a part of me that hates this because it's like, dude, you're one of my idols. Like, I started following basketball in the year after LeBron was drafted, like when Steve Nash came to Phoenix. That's my basketball birth story as a fan. You're one of my idols. This hurts. Like, I don't like seeing you vulnerable. Obviously, the Suns got to do what they got to do to get, you know, I want the Suns to go all the way here. So at a certain point, it's fuck you and, you know, let's close out the series. But still, it's like, damn, dude, put up a little bit of a fight. And I'm sure he will in Game 6. I'm sure he will.
I'm not watching basketball to contemplate my own mortality.
But don't
That's
we
not
all?
Why I'm trying to distract myself from that, like the rest of America.
Yeah.
But you know, it just, I thought they did a really good job defending him. But when you watch a play like that specifically, I gave credit to the Suns because they did a really good job, especially in transition, I thought. But that was one of those times that LeBron would get a dunk normally, and it just didn't happen. And that's a good sign for the Suns. A lot will rest on how healthy Chris Paul is. An elimination game is the hardest thing to win in the NBA. So can they win Game 6? Yeah, they have a good game plan for the Lakers. Even if the Lakers make adjustments, they're going to make adjustments that allow other guys to score. For example, the Suns shot really well in this game. Ayton had 8 points because they played defense differently in this game than they did previous games. He was still excellent, but that's what they conceded. They conceded jump shots to the Suns, and the Suns made those shots. If they concede jump shots to the Suns again, they have to make them. And if it's close, that's when Chris Paul will matter the most, and that's why we hope he's healthy more than anything else. Are you excited about Game 6? Nervous?
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous. But I'm super excited, dude. I mean, we're up 3-2. Like, what's not to be excited about? It's let's just say, because I think we can talk about this series now. Portland-Denver is crazy. Like, what happened tonight in that game was nuts. And obviously, I missed that game. I couldn't watch it at the same time because I was so focused on the Suns game. But, like, oh my God, that was an insane, a double overtime, 7-point win for Denver, for anyone who doesn't know. So I feel like officially Thursday, you got to close out the Lakers, but I do feel like officially that game is going to be bumped up to an earlier time slot, and I need to start paying attention, like close attention to that series now. So I'll see if I can watch the 2 games back to back, just in case the Suns close it out in 6, so we can start scouting.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about that, I'll be honest.
I don't want to talk about it.
I'm too scared. I'm too superstitious.
I don't want to talk about it. No. But there's a difference. Like,
I know what you mean. We're not start watching.
Just so no one gives a shit here. We're not talking about it on the podcast. We're not going to do that. We're not going to like start breaking them down. But you do got to start feeling it out a little bit. You do got to start feeling it out. I mean, you're up 3-2. The TNT was showing the stat, multiple times.
The one we made up on the last episode.
Which one?
Teams that win Game 5 in a 2-2.
Oh, yes. Teams that win Game 5, 85%, I think it said.
You lied to me. You told me it was 69%.
Well, you would rather it would be 85, wouldn't you? So there we go.
Yes, that's true.
So 85, you got an 85% chance against mere mortals. You could argue if LeBron James is not that, but he looks like a mere mortal in this series, so I'm feeling pretty good about it. Feeling pretty good. The honestly, the things that I'm most worried about now are that LeBron is a superhuman, and that you're not going to get the same calls you got tonight in LA in Game 6. Mm-hmm. And if you don't,
and Chris Paul's health,
and if you don't get the same calls you got tonight in LA in Game 6, and they buy enough time so that AD comes back, and it's Game 7, even if you're at home, that transforms the series once again. So that's what I'm most worried about right now.
I have been watching the NBA playoffs my whole life. One of my earliest memories is the Suns versus the Bulls finals from when I was a kid. I just remember those games pretty vividly. A big thing happens, and forgive me for going full ESPN here, but there are times where stars go into Game 6 up 3-2, and often they're the higher seed, and that means that you're playing in your opponent's arena. And that's how you become a hero. That's how Kobe Bryant became a hero. That's how LeBron James became a hero. That's how Michael Jordan became a hero. Whatever happens in Game 6, if the Suns pull out a win, there will be a new hero for the Phoenix Suns that we will talk about maybe for the rest of our lives. That's how incredible these Game 6s can be, because it's in the imposing arena, and that's oftentimes you shoot worse in opposing arenas. Like the Suns shot really well. That's why stars matter a lot. So I'm very excited for this Game 6 because a hero could be born. If
that's going to be anyone, it's got to be Booker. Like this team goes where Booker takes him.
That's exactly right.
A big part of me hopes it's Campaign, though.
Yeah.
Chris Paul
would be
story.
Fun too, right?
Campaign has objectively been the best point guard for either team in this series.
That's not interesting.
Right? He's been better than Chris Paul because of the injury, because of a couple games where Chris Paul was just nothing. He's been better than Schroeder now. I mean, you look at the past 4 games. I don't have the game here. You look. Sorry, I got to pull it up real quick. You look at the past
16 points tonight.
Look at the past 4 games.
11.
16 points tonight. He had 13 last game, 15 the game before, and then 19 the game before that. He's hitting his threes, doing his thing, playing with boys. Campaign, man. I don't know what that extension is going to look like, but I'm at the point where it's like give him whatever the hell he wants. Personally,
You know, yeah, we're gonna have to at some point too. I'm not ready to do it.
I
Talk
have-
about how these guys are earning monies
My-
in the playoffs.
my current thought, and things are subject to change, but my current thought is it's not my money. Pay all of them, and I don't care. Like that's literally
Just keep as many of those good guys as you can. I think the Suns have earned enough that they can get some veterans that could play minutes with the team for minimums because they're good ring chasers, if you will, in quotes. I'm not going to guarantee anything for the Suns here. But yeah, that'll be interesting. We'll save that conversation for later once the games are. We're gonna need something to talk about in the off season. So
Yeah, they might need to bribe someone to take on Dario's contract to kind of make some of the financials work, but I think they can get it done.
I still believe he could be good next season. Schroeder, 0 for 9. I just want to shout that out. 0 for 9, Dennis Schroeder. 0 free throw attempts, so he ended the game with 0 points, 1 assist in 26 minutes. I mean,
and that's why
you want to talk about Mikal Jail.
Exactly.
That was it.
Right. So like he's earning his money too. We didn't even really talk. We talked about the wings generally, but we didn't talk about like Mikal tonight. He had a bounce back game. I mean, he still like didn't hit the shots that I really want him to hit. You know, the 2-point shots, like the cuts. The Lakers have been so good about shutting down his cuts all series, and not even allowing him to leak out in transition either. But like Mikal Jail was in its purest form tonight. That's how he's earning his money too. And if the Suns can continue this run, let me just say, like Mikal has expended so much energy in guarding LeBron this series. I know he didn't tonight, but generally,
no coincidence that he had his breakout game not guarding LeBron.
It is totally possible, and you've said this in the past, but I just want to reiterate the point that like if the Suns can continue on into round 2 and 3, there could be future series where it's like, oh, this is the series for Mikal to break out offensively.
Yeah,
and I still believe, I still believe in that.
Yeah, right before the game, I messaged you, Sam, and I said, I feel like this could be a Booker game tonight because of no Anthony Davis help defense. And I said, I think if the Suns make it past the series, it could be more Mikal time. So hopefully, I was right about one of those things. Devin Booker had a good game. Hopefully, I'm right about Mikal. Even Booker, because the Lakers are still a very good defensive team. The Suns really just torched them tonight. I think those guys could do a lot better against different kinds of defenses. But obviously, they still have to finish this one out. That's the most important thing. There's not a lot of adjustments to talk about for you guys, so I'm sorry we're not going to break out adjustment talk here because they just won by 30 points. It's on the Lakers to adjust at this point. Otherwise, this will continue to work. Once again, we will be back after Game 6 on Thursday, which is in LA. Hopefully, that's another win we can come back and celebrate with you guys. I'm looking forward to that. Sam, you got anything else before we go?
Looking forward to it. Should be really fun.
All right, we'll be back.
Those pickup games prepare you for these type of situations and atmospheres now.
No, that's a totally different situation. You know, in the summertime, you're working on your game. If you're in a gym full of NBA players, I feel like you're there to work. Out here, I know the right play to make. You know, get off it quick. I have teammates I can give the ball to, and they make them pay, and that's what happened tonight.
Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, and Thomas Hearns. Legends, whose four-way rivalry defined one of the greatest eras in boxing history. Relive their decade of dominance in the new Showtime sports documentary, The Kings, a 4-part series premiering Sunday, June 6th, only on Showtime.